Poros, a fragrance that constantly gets compared to the smell of a public bathroom covered in piss. One of the best 5 YSLs to wear right now? No. Hey friends, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. These are the best YSL fragrances that you can buy and wear right now. YSL fragrances are known for pulling compliments, for getting attention, and for being versatile where you can wear them whenever you want. First though, a couple honorable mentions from the house, both in the L'Homme line. The original and the Le Parfum. So the original version right here has a really pleasant opening, citrus and ginger. It smells fantastic, fizzy, sweet, lively, brisk. And then as it dries down, tonka comes out. You get more of a warmth, a nice sweetness that carries through into that dry down, and a touch of woodiness as well. It gets overlooked nowadays. You know, a lot of people won't pay it any attention, but they should, because it still works just as well today as when it came out, which to be fair was at this point like 20 years ago, but it still works. 20 is not old. So yeah, even though nowadays it doesn't sell like the other really big fragrances out there, you know, the Sauvages, the Bleu de Chanel's, the Ys, it still works. And then this one, L'Homme Le Parfum. It flies under the radar. For the most part, nobody really pays attention to it. Nobody really cares about it. But what it does is it takes essentially this, the original, and makes it have a baby with the Y line of fragrances. Yeah, it's like YSL was doing some weird experimentation. They had their fragrances and they were mixing and matching them together, splicing DNAs, trying to figure out what would work, and then this little guy right here popped out. Hey buddy, how's it going? Another interesting part about it is they, you know, almost in a way didn't even try to hide it, because the color scheme here, the coloration, fairly similar to Y Eau de Parfum. And so with that combo coming together here, you have a fragrance that you can essentially wear whenever you want. Nice little aromatic touch, not quite as sweet as Y Eau de Parfum. And as I said, flies under the radar. Most guys out there, you know, they're going to Macy's or wherever, and whatever they're getting pushed by the salesperson is what they're buying, and that is not being pushed. So both of these honorable mentions. Number 5, I'm gonna go with myself Le Parfum. So if we're talking modern YSL fragrances, this line, the Myself line, one of the biggest in the world. And I'm not just saying that to say that. You know, I'm not just going, oh, I went on Macy's website and it was a sponsored fragrance, so I think it's popular. Like, no, legitimately, as far as sales numbers, this is one of the most popular fragrances in the world for men. And the reason why is because it pulls attention, it pulls compliments. Also, it has solid staying power, so you don't have to worry about having to reapply over and over and over again. The Le Parfum version right here takes that same DNA from the original, from the Eau de Parfum, and makes it a little bit deeper, a little bit richer, a little darker, bolder. The note breakdown here, pretty simple. There's black pepper off the top, there's orange blossom in the mid, which is gonna tie it in with the other Myself fragrances, gives it that kind of freshness, that clean aspect. Then in the dry down, in the base, there's vanilla, there's amber, and there are woody notes. It's also gonna give you a little bit of a citrus feel to it, just like the original Eau de Parfum, but like I said, this one is gonna come across darker, a little heavier. Fantastic longevity, good projection, and even though this is sort of a cool weatherized, winterized version of the original Myself, you can still wear this during the summer. So it is a scent that you can use year round, maybe middle of summer, like during the day when it's really hot and humid, depending on where you find yourself, because you know, depending on where you are, that may not actually come to even be an issue at all. But if you live somewhere where it gets really hot and humid during the summer, maybe during the day, you would sit this one out, but then when it starts to become evening, perfect. So I think of all the YSL fragrances right now, this one has to be in the top 5, at least for me. Number 4, La Nuit de l'Homme, the original, the Eau de Toilette. Now there are gonna be issues with the original La Nuit de l'Homme. The biggest issue for most people is it's not that strong. Yeah, I mean, it is an Eau de Toilette, and this comes from a time where Eau de Toilette fragrances performed like Eau de Toilette fragrances. Released circa 2009, back then, it wasn't as big a deal if your fragrance didn't last 16 hours. Nowadays, they've got fragrances coming out that are supposed to be for a date, and they're being advertised as lasting 16 hours. Look guys, there's a time and a place for everything as far as fragrances go. Strong ones, weak ones, everything in between. A lot of times when you're going on a date, you know, depending on what you're doing, but a lot of times you want something that's gonna be more intoxicating, magnetic, not screechingly loud, okay? If you get something that is insanely powerful to the point that people are tasting what you're wearing just through the air, through osmosis, it's too much, okay? That's where fragrances like this used to just absolutely shine. They were strong enough that they would last through a date, you know, through the evening, but they weren't so aggressively brash that they overwhelm people. Instead, it was that type of fragrance where somebody would catch a whiff and they would just kind of come in for another. That's what this is perfect for. So it has cardamom off the top, probably the most popular, most well-known cardamom fragrance ever, to the point that a lot of people, when they're getting started learning about fragrances and they want to go, you know, how does cardamom smell? I'm not sure. People would just say, smell La Nuit alone. Off the top, you can get a whole bunch of cardamom, and when you smell that in other fragrances, you'll be able to pick it up and be like, oh, I know what that is because of this. Also has lavender in there, touch of citrus, woody notes as well. And even though the performance is not amazing compared to a lot of stuff nowadays, La Nuit alone, still one of the best YSLs out there. It's one of those ones where you can go months, even years without smelling it, and as soon as you smell it again, you realize, oh, that's why it was so popular. That's why it's one of the biggest that's ever been made. Does kind of suck though that YSL has pretty much abandoned these fragrances for now. La Nuit and the original L'Homme line have been forgotten from myself and the Y line. The next scent is absolutely massive. But before we jump to that one, codes. Because there is a new one for Fragflex, it is Gents 10. It'll get you 10% off the website. So whatever you buy on Fragflex, use that code, save yourself 10% off. And Gift Express hit us with the weakness on their code, 5%, lame. But I think though, if you spend past a certain point, it's supposed to go up to 10%, I think 200, but all the other codes like Beauty House or JOMASHOP, you can use here to save yourself money. So shout out to those stores. Thank you for those codes. The next fragrance, one of the best out there, period. If you're looking for a fragrance you can wear year round, that has amazing performance, that will get you noticed. And when I say period, I'm talking everything. Why Eau de Parfum? Now I know a lot of people are gonna be like, no. They'll be hitting you with the Punisher. Wait, no. They're gonna think this should be over here, number one. And it kind of is for me in actuality. So I shoot it straight with you guys. These top three, they're really tied for me. You catch me tomorrow, I could flip-flop these. But for today, that's where this is going. Why Eau de Parfum, one of my go-to fragrances, has been ever since it came out. And I actually gravitate a lot towards this line for my blue fragrances that I like to wear, because it's a little bit different than Sauvage, than Bleu de Chanel. You're gonna get apple off the top with this one, a good amount of sweetness actually. It also has ginger, bergamot, sage, and amberwood as it dries down. The longevity is great, the projection is great, year-round usability. The only issue with this one, and it's not too much of an issue, is kind of the same thing I talked about with the Y over here, or the Myself over here. If it's middle of summer, really hot outside, and you go heavy with this one, then the sweetness off the top can come across a little bit too much. As long as you don't spray it on heavy, you can absolutely wear it during the summer when it's hot outside. It's just, if it is hot and you go heavy like it's middle of winter, but it's actually, 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside, then at that point, a little bit too much. And the popularity of this fragrance has maintained ever since it came out. It's a bestseller, it always has been, and it actually, over the past year, went up as far as sales. So it got more popular in 2025 compared to 2024. Go figure. All right, number 2, and this is another fragrance. YSL is really good at this, that you can wear whenever you want. In actuality, I think you go and look through most recent, releases from the house over the past 5 years, most of them end up falling into like an anytime type of vibe. Even if it's maybe better suited for spring and fall, you can still wear them whenever you want. And also, just as a very quick aside, that is also reflected in YSL's rankings. Just as far as their sales, they have been crushing. They've always been a big fragrance house, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like everything that they've released over the past few years has been something that just immediately shoots up the sales charts. So number 2 for me is Myself Absolute. And I have to say, the original Myself, it is not in the top 5, but that scent is huge. It is massively appealing, has a great, fresh, clean, laundry-esque kind of feel to it. But when it came down to this, you know, this ranking of just the top 5, I knew I had to put this one in here because I've been wearing it a ton. And this one I feel like is a better counterpart to this one than putting in the original and Absolute. Because if you wanted to, you could use this as like spring, summer, also fall, winter, but you could use this spring, summer, and you could use this fall, winter. So they kind of play with each other really nicely. Kind of a weird thing to say. They play with each other really well. No breakdown wise, this one has ginger and citrus off the top. It has orange blossom, of course. Has a little bit of cardamom, additional floral notes, and patchouli as well. So it's gonna be fairly similar to the original Myself, but this one has more of a zingy opening due to that ginger. So it's got a nice briskness, a nice zestiness when you first spray it on, a little bit of zing to it, like I said, mixing together with that citrus. Has the clean orange blossom in the mid. Then as it dries down, the patchouli is not, you know, it's not really earthy, dirty, you know, hippie patchouli or anything. It's a clean, woody sort of patchouli vibe. The longevity is killer for a fragrance, especially that most people are gonna smell and think, oh, spring, summer, fall. It lasts forever. The projection is really good also. And you can tell how successful this stuff right here is because not long after it came out, clone houses were already dropping clone fragrances of this one. So if you ever had any wonder of, oh, did that flanker do really well? You can just look at that and be like, oh, yeah. So Myself Absolute, number 2 for me. As far as modern fragrances done in this style, because Myself kind of kicked off its own style of scent where other fragrance houses have made things that kind of smell similar to them. But in the Myself style, the Myself line, these two gotta have. All right, now before the number 1, another fragrance that was just like barely outside here, La Nuit de l'Homme, Le Parfum. I think the Le Parfum version of La Nuit de l'Homme is also fantastic. It gives you a nice different twist on that DNA. It has better performance than the original. Not as cardamom forward. I think it doesn't even technically have cardamom as a note, even though it smells like cardamom is in there. It has more of a fruity, fresh, spicy aspect to it, which is also really, really well done. But that one was just outside the top 5. Number 1 for me is gonna be this. YSL Y Le Parfum, with a huge caveat, and that is this is technically discontinued. It has been replaced with this, the new version of Y Le Parfum. So if you went to Macy's and you looked for Y Le Parfum, you're gonna find this one right here, not that one. And it's not that the new version is bad, it smells good, it's just not what the original one is. The new version is a woodier scent. It's not as sweet, so for some people that may be the one to go for. But for me, I would go for the original Y Le Parfum before it's fully gone. Because if you shop at discounters, like JOMASHOP, Fragflex, Fragrance Net, places like that, you can still find this, at least as of right now. Just look for the all blacked out Y Le Parfum, that's the one. It smells quite similar to Y Eau de Parfum, but this one is a little bit more deep. It's a little bit more grown up. You're still gonna find that apple note in here, just like in Y Eau de Parfum. It also has grapefruit, ginger, and lavender. As it dries down, it has tonka. You're also gonna find olibanum. It's gonna give you a little bit of an incensey type vibe, some cedar, and also patchouli. Again, I've said it with most of these, except for La Nuit de l'Homme, the longevity is great. It will stick, it will last all night long. You can wear it on a date. You can wear it to more formal occasions, casual occasions. You can wear it pretty much anywhere. It's another one that pulls attention like a magnet, and it's just a shame that they got rid of it. So if I were gonna say, you know, these are the 5 that you need to look up right now for YSL, that would be at the very top. And it's because there are multifaceted reasons. It has all the performance you want, has the complement factor you want, it has the wearability that you want, And it's also going to eventually, in the not too distant future, be way harder to find and way more expensive. So it's basically, you know, get it while the getting's good. Technically, the getting was gooder back before it was discontinued because the price has risen at discounters because they know it's discontinued. So now it's like, you know, 140 bucks or something like that when it used to be a lot less. But it still stands. YSL Parfum, the original version, that's what I would get first right now. And even though the new version has gotten hated on because it has replaced that one, it's still pretty good. Not top 5 good, but it's good. So there we go. That is YSL right now in a nutshell. As of right this second when I'm filming this video, I don't have the new Y yet, Y Iced. It's supposed to get here in a couple days, and that video will probably come out before this one. So you'll get to see if it's good or not before this goes live. And if it's super good, maybe it would be up here. If it's not, then obviously it wouldn't. I wanna thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.
Thank you.